Good morning. I first want to thank the DOT for hosting this conference. I also want to apologize for not being able to be there in person. I put together this short video to add to the conversation you all are having regarding utility coordination and communication. The main question asked of Diggers Hotline for years now is why? Why are so many utility locates not being performed on time? As with most problems, there are many reasons why, and this problem is complex. The first step with most problems is communication, which is why this DOT conference is so valuable. Regarding utility locating, the discussion really began in earnest approximately 5 years ago. The Diggers Hotline Advisory Board, which is a small stakeholder group tasked with reviewing policies and procedures specific to Diggers Hotline, decided to turn its attention to the issue of utility locates. The advisory board discussed and proposed a variety of ideas, but continued to bump up against limitations in the law, as well as the general authority Diggers Hotline had with regard to bringing about change. Diggers Hotline just did not have the authority to force utilities or their contractors to locate on time. The handful of policy initiatives the advisory board implemented also did not produce any real improvement. Some of the ideas resulted in things like the no-show relocate, which the advisory board believed would help reduce the amount of locating done by only targeting a relocate to those companies who had not located, but also allowing reporting to identify companies who were not consistently locating. The no-show relocate did those things to some degree, but did not improve overall locate performance. The Compliance Review and Improvement Program was also implemented. This program allowed excavators to bring complaints about specific utility locating concerns to the advisory board for review. This program was only used twice and only provided relief on an individual project, not broad sweeping improvements. It just was not effective or efficient enough to combat the larger problem. When the Compliance Review and Improvement Program failed, the advisory board, as well as the Diggers Hotline Board of Directors, recommended creation of a larger stakeholder group, almost like a task force, to discuss the issue of utility locating and try and brainstorm solutions while also building a coalition which could bring about change. The task force was named the Wisconsin Damage Prevention Council. The advisory board picked 20 companies from all across the damage prevention industry to be the initial members of the Damage Prevention Council. Those companies included excavator organizations like WUCA and the WTBA, large and small utility companies, contract locate companies, surveyors and engineers, the DOT, the Public Service Commission, and Diggers Hotline. Every company contacted agreed utility locating was the main issue facing the industry, and all those companies signed on to participate. The DPC had its first meeting in November of 2023. Over the course of the next 2 years, the DPC has grown from 20 participants to over 80 people. The DPC has focused on identifying the various problems which make up the overall utility locating issue and brainstorming potential solutions. As the discussions progressed, there were two truths which came into focus. The first is there were very few quick or easy solutions to this problem, and none of those would provide any significant improvement. The second is the law needed to be changed to bring about any real improvement. Over the course of 2025, the DPC has been discussing what needs to be improved in the law and how to best go about changing the law. The main law changes being discussed are applying the enforcement of the law to all types of underground facilities. Currently, enforcement can only be effectively applied to incidents involving gas or hazardous material facilities. Incidents with electric, communications, water, or sewer just have no viable enforcement component in the law. Improving how enforcement works by putting enforcement in the hands of a single agency, like the PSC, while also streamlining that process so problems can be addressed and hopefully resolved quickly. Mandating positive response for all facility owners. Currently, positive response is voluntary for utilities. Trying to improve the utility facility maps, including things like X, Y, and Z coordinates on newly installed facilities, and potholing standards for large-scale projects along roadways. Unfortunately, legislative changes are slow-moving and rely on compromise. At this time, the DPC is working on putting those ideas into language suitable for a bill. The DPC has a legislative subcommittee working on that language right now. Law changes take time, and this process has moved slowly. I remain hopeful compromise can be reached and these changes can bring about improvement to the utility locating situation. When you talk about utility locating, a lot of times you talk about ticket volume as well. In terms of the number of tickets, the following charts show the ticket volume through 2024. Inbound tickets, which are the tickets filed by excavators, have been a little up and down over the past 5 years, with 2024 being slightly down over 2023. A similar trend also follows suit for outbound tickets. Outbound tickets are the tickets sent to the Diggers Hotline utility member companies. On average, we notify approximately 4 utilities on every ticket filed by an excavator. The percentage of tickets received via the web has also increased year by year. We take nearly 70% of all our tickets via the web currently. All these numbers are looking at an uptick in 2025. Diggers Hotline recently surpassed 1 million tickets taken in 2025 for the first time in company history. I've been asked to address a specific idea which has surfaced now and again called a coordinated ticket. This idea centers around only having one ticket filed with Diggers Hotline for a specific project where there may be multiple excavation companies all working in the same area on the same project. Currently, each company is required to file their own ticket. The theory with this coordinated ticket is it would reduce those unnecessary additional tickets. While the premise of the idea is not without merit, as with most things, the devil is in the details. Discussion of this type of ticket has broken down in the past due to the following considerations. The current state statute is worded in such a way where it requires every individual involved in excavation to contact Diggers Hotline prior to excavation. This has been upheld by the Diggers Hotline attorney as the intent of the law. Subsequently, Diggers Hotline has been advising companies of this for decades. Discussion of a coordinated ticket also led to many other questions. Some of those questions are, which company is responsible for filing the ticket for all the other companies? Is that company willing to take on liability for those other companies? If a company who has not filed the ticket damages a facility, will utilities simply pin liability on that company for not having their own legal ticket? Who can file relocates on that ticket? What if the various companies are not working in the exact same locations or venture outside the area designated by the ticket filing company? Diggers Hotline is always willing to discuss changes to existing ticket types or addition of other beneficial tickets or policies. We just have to make sure the proposed changes do not come with unintended consequences. If anyone here would like more information on the Wisconsin Damage Prevention Council, they can go to diggershotline.com, click on the option for other information, and then click on the Wisconsin DPC link at the bottom of that list. That will take you to the page which explains the mission and vision of the DPC, as well as links to all the minutes from each meeting. Damage Prevention Council meetings are open to anyone. If you would like to attend a future DPC meeting, you can find my contact information on the staff section of diggershotline.com. You can also reach out to me if you have any questions about anything I discussed here today or any other general questions you may have. Thank you all for attending today. Problems do not get solved unless people are willing to meet and discuss solutions. I look forward to touching base with the DOT after this conference and hearing about your ideas and discussions.